Wow, what a meeting, right? So before I actually talk about next year's ELS, I would really like to thank our hosts here, the local hosts, because I think they treated us so well and made this meeting such a pleasurable and memorable thing, So thank you for that. At the same time, I have to say you make my life really miserable, because as the next organizer, you set the bar so high, so it's going to be very difficult to actually just maintain the level. So yeah, let me just briefly talk about the next meeting. Next, please. Or I can do it here, right? Let's see. So we haven't set up the logo yet. So this is still the logo from 2017 when we first hosted the ELS. And so it's really a pleasure to have you all back in Münster next year. So the meeting date will be the 22nd to the 27th of June. So pretty much the same time frame. I think it's 1 week later actually, but I hope that doesn't matter to you. Let me just give you a few basic facts about Münster. It's almost as old as the Caledonian Age here, almost, The first record was in about 800 AD that we have, Münster was always a city that's closely related to economy. It's an economic center, local economic center, and that's that. It was part of the, or is part of the, was part of the Hanseatic League. Probably most famous is that in Münster, the peace treaty was signed that ended 30 years of war where people fought about which religion is better. So, we couldn't agree, strangely enough, So it's really showing you something. So the peace treaty was there. Today, we have about 300,000 people that live there. Everyone pretty much has a bicycle or at least one. So it's quite a thing, the bicycle. And we have a fairly large university there. So it's about 40,000 students. So it's about the third largest university that we have in Germany. So you can reach Münster fairly easily. There are several airports around. The closest one is indeed what we call FMO. That's the local airport. It's very close by. It is served by flights from Frankfurt and Munich several times a day. But depending on where you're coming from, you might choose to fly into Düsseldorf and Amsterdam, take the train, or go to Frankfurt and Munich and either take the commuter train or the flight connection. There are also many trains that stop in Münster of all classes, if you will. The IC is the fastest one in Germany. The IC is a little bit slower. And then, of course, you have the regional trains. It really doesn't matter which one you pick because usually they are all very unpunctual. So be prepared to come late to Münster, okay, if you take the train. So having said this as a German, that gives you a message here, okay? You can also use, of course, the car. We are at the crossing of two major highways. Münster is full with hotels, and you have a wide selection in terms of prices and levels and so forth. You have a fairly good tourist office that certainly will help you in making arrangements. So just to orient yourself where Münster is, it's this white little circle there. So it's in the northwestern part of Germany, close to the Netherlands. And then I also sort of marked the airports that are maybe interesting for you. And at the lower bottom, you see actually Münster Airport. It's fairly small, which is beautiful because you will be in and out very quickly, security and so forth is a matter of minutes, literally. So that's the benefit of a small airport. Just a aerial view of Münster. You can see the train station in the lower right and the meeting place in the upper left there. In between, you see the downtown area. Just to give you an impression of the size, you can walk across Münster, I would say, in 15 minutes. So you will not need a car or anything like this once you are there. So it's fairly convenient, actually. Just a couple of shots from how the city looks like. So we have a beautiful downtown area. We have on Wednesdays and Fridays, we have farmer markets, which I can really recommend. So lots of good food there. We have a dome in the center of the image. We have many Baroque buildings. In the lower right, you see our harbor area, which is really nice when it comes to nighttime, amusement, many bars, music halls, restaurants. So you will find lots of young people there. In the upper part, you see the astronomical clock, which is really quite something. It's located in the dome, and you can just walk in there and look at it, and we will certainly make sure that you can see it. In terms of historic perspective, we also have one of the best copies of Galileo's book, and we will make arrangements that you can all have a look at this book. And maybe, I have to negotiate this with the librarian, maybe you can touch it. Okay, I'm not promising that, but we did this for a couple of LROC meetings and so forth, and it worked actually. Okay, weather-wise, that's probably also interesting for you. June is fairly good and stable weather usually, so temperatures are quite nice, around 20 degrees, not too many rain days. You can see it's in the past, at least, it was raining quite a bit in Münster. Nowadays, with climate change, we actually also have some dry periods, where a couple of days when it's not raining amazingly. So if you're looking forward to a really nice meeting venue, I have to disappoint you. This is not where we will meet. This is just where I have my office in this beautiful, well-designed architectural monster, So if you like that kind of architecture, I'm sorry, because this will be actually the meeting place. Okay, so it looks a little better, I would say. On the second floor, there's a very large meeting facility that seats about 330 people. So that will be the maximum that we will accept. Okay, that's how it looks on the inside. If you look carefully, all the guys are wearing ties and looks very formal. I can assure you, even in a t-shirt, you're welcome. Okay, so it's some official university business that's going on there. You're pretty low key, and I'm looking really forward welcoming all of you next year in Münster. And yeah, safe travels back, and see you all in Münster next year. Thank you very much.